So this week we're going to start taking a look at YYY's solo MVs. Since these MVs have a lot to analyze, this video will be solely for Yves New MV. So let's get right into it. Let's begin with the new intro. We get to see the new Loona logo animation that is solely used for the YYY members. So now the moon goes from right to left instead of the other way around. And in Yves' case, the moon is in a Bordeaux red color. So the MV has white borders, but the bowling alley scene in the beginning is shown to us without any borders and in a blank void space. Where have we seen this before? I'm guessing that this shows us that this place is on Earth or Middle Earth, since we only get to see the no borders on MVs that take place on Earth or close to Earth, like in Chuu's case, where she ends up meeting Hassel in Middle Earth and we can hear the carol in the background, meaning that this is close to Earth. The MV starts off with Yves in a really bright room that seems really old and damaged when we take a look at the ground. Now, this could of course take place in Eden, but what we know from Eden and how Eden is shown to us in the Love4eva MV, I highly doubt that this takes place in Eden. The only other time where abandoned, broken down buildings are shown to us is in Love Cherry Motion, where Choerry ends up in a broken down building as her first destination in Middle-earth and is blinded by light. Yeah, well, this is just my theory, but we do know that Yves was trying to reach the Odd Eye Circle members in Middle-earth, so this isn't too far-fetched. And after this scene of Yves sitting in this building, we see a red apple in a black void. So this does indicate a connection of Yves in this place and her assigned fruit, which might have teleported her to this place. I would also like to talk about the significance of Yves' dance scenes. While with the other members they dance together with background dancers and it feels like it is unrelated to the story of the MV. In Yves' case it feels like this is an important part of the MV's story. Yves and the other YYY members have to follow strict rules and they have to perform a dance routine in front of the headmistress. This dance, while it does look cute, actually is pretty dark. They have to perform this dance overjoyed and in excitement, while they probably hate it. Dancing is a skill and an art form, and to some people art is a way of running wild and free and showing what is inside of you to the outside world. In Eden though, you can't even enjoy art, since they don't even let you make your own art and they don't allow you to show your own emotions. Instead you have to act like you're the most happy person ever. Now in the new MV we see Yves dancing, but with a really joyful expression, in a brightly lit room, dressed all in white. It is like Yves is cleansing her soul of the darkness of Eden. While in the background we see a bar that is meant to be used for ballet, which again can be interpreted as a dance style and an art form that leaves no room for individualism and freedom, since every dancer has to perform the same thing and has to be synchronized. Yves dances in her own style and ignores her surroundings that pressure her to dance in a particular way, in this case in a ballet style. So her dancing in this MV puts her in a strong contrast to the Love4eva MV and establishes her rebellion against Eden. Now we can see Yves standing on a staircase and the Korean text on the building says flower. This could be interpreted in many different ways, but I feel like the most fitting one is that in this MV, Yves starts to bloom. For the first time in her life she gets to feel free, and she starts to blossom into this rebellious leader that wants her friends to feel as free as she does. Her looking at the apple in this scene is important because she realizes what power this apple has. Not only to free herself and let her blossom, but the power to help and free her friends as well. Again, a scene in a black void. This time Yves is hiding an apple behind her back. Maybe she wants to keep the apple's powers a secret, or what seems to be more realistic to me, she wants to hide this kind of rebellious side from Eden. Now we can see the bowling alley from the beginning of the MV, but it is shown to us in the Odd Eye Circle members' colors. So Yves influences the Odd Eye Circle members and they influence her world as well. This kind of reminds me of the scene from the Egoist MV where Yves is looking down at Olivia Hye, and later on Olivia Hye is looking down as well. And this to me could be a metaphor for Yves looking down at her past, since she now has outgrown her old self. Through eating her assigned fruit and opening her eyes, we see the dancing Yves sit down and bite into an apple, just like she is ready to return to Eden. which we see a second later when we see her in the black void with her uniform on again. Next, Yves is in a tunnel, probably symbolizing her descent to Earth, which explains the other people she is around. We only see the members around other people when it's on Earth, since in Middle-earth and Eden there are not many other people. This might even be the tunnel that she used to meet up with Choerry, but who knows. She lets the apple fall and it travels through the black void and then falls onto a seemingly dirty dark ground, which could be the ground in the tunnel, just to suddenly change to the ground from the beginning of Chuu's MV. So this could mean that this scene plays out on Earth, and then Yves bites into an apple, just to descend through Middle-earth down to Eden, underlined by her eating the apple in the scene afterwards. This could also explain why these scenes are filmed on rooftops. Even though Eden is the highest realm in the Loonaverse, when we see members exit Eden, they do this by ascending, so going upwards. So even though the Loonaverse has Earth on the bottom and Eden on top, this might be switched around through the eyes of the Eden girls. This could be just another thing that is mirrored. Imagine it like this. The girls on Earth are looking up to Eden, so Eden is on top, but the Eden girls are not looking down on Earth, but instead they are flipped around, so they are looking up as well. For the girls on Earth, Eden might seem like heaven. For the Eden girls, though, it is the other way around. And that's why Yves is going upwards to Earth and downwards to Eden, and Olivia Hye has to climb upstairs and descend from a tunnel upwards to exit Eden. I hope this makes sense. Yves eats the apple, then we see Vivi, and Yves eating the apple again. And then Yves standing on the staircase smiling. Maybe Yves met her old friend Vivi on Earth. This is something I didn't really think about before, but in this scene Yves is back in Eden and puts on her Eden shoes again so that the headmistress doesn't notice that she was gone. Yeah, but what are those? Converse? The same kind of Converse with the red stripe that the Odd Eye Circle members wear? To me, this doesn't mean that Yves is an Odd Eye Circle member, but it could mean that she has a connection to them, which could also fit into my theory of Yves being the one that watched the Odd Eye Circle members and observed them. Now we can see Yves wanting to take a bite from another apple, just to switch to her sitting high up on a building front. If we believe that the rooftop is a symbol for Earth, then this building front could be a symbol for Middle-earth. It's not the rooftop and it's not on the ground either. Now going through the quick flashing scenes could add to this theory. We can see Yves in denim jeans. This is the outfit from the beginning of the MV where she is looking down at us, and is also seen later on in the MV, where Yves is sitting on a rooftop again. The apples around her indicate to us that Yves has traveled through the realms a lot of times, and that she might already be familiar with Earth and Middle-earth when she starts reaching out for help from the other subunits. Again, this could explain the unknown girl circling around the Odd Eye Circle members in the Girlfriend MV. Like Yves was watching them to know if she can trust them with helping her members to escape Eden. Now we see Yves biting into the apple, which switches to a red and purple bowling alley. This might symbolize Yves' connection to the Odd Eye Circle members. Then again a black void with an apple that switches to Yves looking a bit confused. Since this scene starts with Yves wearing her Eden uniform and also ends with it, this might be a hint at what her first time traveling through realms might have looked like. Entering Middle-earth and finding out that she isn't the only person that can travel through realms, which makes her confused. Again we see Yves in the tunnel and she is smiling at us. Now we see Yves standing on the staircase again, then her dancing with background dancers in the bowling alley, her biting into an apple, her on the rooftop in the outfit she wears when she uses the claw machine, then again the bowling alley in red and purple, and Yves now wearing her Eden shoes again. Now Yves dancing with background dancers, but they face the other way. And this time we see blue incorporated into the lighting and it switches to Yves biting into an apple again. Then red light over the apple. Yves petting or touching the camera in her claw machine outfit. The red Yves sign in the bowling alley. Yves in the rooftop and staircase outfit biting an apple. Apples on the ground. More dancing and Yves drops an apple. This switches to the iconic claw machine scene. Again we're in a black void. Just a claw machine is lighting up this space, and if we look closely there is a light going from red to blue, then green and to red again. Now you can see some plushies in the machine, a penguin that was featured in Chuu's MV for example, and a bat, maybe a fruit bat. just another sitting on a roof scene. Now we see the Odd Eye Circle members' colors on the claw machine. This bowling alley is way lighter, being lit with pink and purple bluish light before switching again to the dark red and blue lighting, kind of symbolizing the opposites of Earth and Eden. The frog plush is a symbol for Yojin, seemingly showing us that Eve does have something to do with Yojin returning to Hassel and Earth. Maybe Eve is the one that brings the members to Middle-earth, and from there on they need their 1/3 counterpart to take them to Earth, like we kind of see with Chuu and Hassel. The next plush is thought to be a penguin by a lot of orbits, but this is in fact not a penguin plush. In the behind the scenes for this MV we see Kimlip saying that this is an owl. And it does add up, since the penguin plush of Chuu looks way different than this plush. So Eve also came in contact with Kimlip. I also think that the cross earrings are an interesting addition to this scene. Is Eve being compared to a religious figure? What is also interesting is the fact that when Eve is in this dark space, there are two background dancers, maybe symbolizing her friends, Chuu and Gowon, or her disciples. And then in the lighter version of this dance scene, she is all alone. If we believe that these lighter scenes are a symbol for Earth, then this could mean that she has yet to make any connections to the 1/3 members. Her taking an apple out of the claw machine is interesting to me. Like, she's not the one that can create these apples, she must get them from somewhere. And on the other hand, this might symbolize her giving these apples to the other members that we saw being symbolized by the plushies. She is looking confused again. Now this is really interesting to me, since in the last scene and in this scene we see plushies being replaced by an apple. Maybe Eve throwing the plushies off the roof is a symbol for her throwing the members out of Eden and into Middle-earth. Remember how Eve is trying to take the members out of Eden forcefully? So her taking a golf club to throw the plushies off of the rooftop is a good metaphor for her harsh and over-the-top methods. Remember how she excludes Olivia Hye from their plans, just to then leave her all alone in Eden, just so that she can leave Eden on her own? Or how she hunts down Gowon in her MV and tries to force her to eat her fruit. Again, Eve bites into an apple, and I don't really know what the yogurt is all about. And also her shirt says strict, and it is in the style of these Obey t-shirts. So yeah, Eden being strict and oppressive. Then again the claw machine, Eve on the rooftop, the red and purple bowling alley, and a close-up of the claw machine, which has the red, blue and purple buttons as a reference to the Odd Eye Circle members. More of Eve hanging out with the guys, and this building kind of looks like a factory building. And the flashing scenes are ended by Eve biting into the apple again. This time we get a close-up of the plushies, and you can see a blue bird plushie for Hassel, a bunny for Heejin, a grey baby swan for Eve, the frog plush which is waving at you for Yojin, and a lot more that I can't identify. Eve biting an apple again, she balances on these things that mark a parking space. She has a lot of tags, maybe 6, with her name on them, and she cuts the bands off of them with a golden pair of scissors. An apple that is on the Eden ground, then more dancing, more of the rooftop claw machine outfit scene. Now what seems to be 9 tags that she is cutting the bands off of, and we go from Black Void, in which she cuts off the bands, to them falling onto the Eden ground. I don't really know what this could mean, but my guess is that this again is a symbol for Eve's harsh and over-the-top methods to get the members to exit Eden. In a way, she would rather cut off their support system, since she thinks she knows what is best for them, rather than to help them exit themselves, and to do it in their own tempo and on their own accord. But this is ultimately what makes them unable to exit Eden. They don't want to do it, since Eve pressures them into it and does things to them and with them that they don't really want. So they fall down to Eden again, even if Eve tries to get them into Middle-earth. The elevator is going down, and the number is 9, since Eve is the 9th member of Loona. And going down because she is going down to Eden again. More of Eve dancing, but this time it is in the tunnel that looks like the tunnel she meets Choerry in. Now we see Eve throwing her own plush off of the roof. This makes me pretty sure that this is a symbol for traveling through realms. Then another Eve looking confused scene. apples on the ground next to her, her sitting in the dance practice room, her standing on the staircase, her being on a rooftop or bridge, her with the boys, and then Yves almost bites into an apple again, but then it switches to her licking the seal off of the yogurt. Sure seems like eating the yogurt might be something that kicks you right out of Eden. In a way, just being another reference to the apples and assigned fruits. Now a lot of scenes are shown again. Next, the tapes of the 1/3 members and the tape recorder that we saw in the Girlfriend MV. Yves definitely knows about the other members, probably because she needs them to save the other YYY members. I also think that the order of the tapes is interesting. Heejin's MV has the white waters, just like Yves and the other Circle members' MVs. Hassel was in a black void that might be Eden, where she then meets Vivi. Then Yeojin went missing in the black void that became a forest through the music of the 1/3 members. And Hyunjin meets Gowon in Eden in the form of a cat. Maybe this is just a timeline of when the members first came in contact with the other realms. Now the elevator goes down to 8, which is Choerry's number, and the first member that Yves recruited to finally free the YYY members from Eden. And I'm guessing that they met in Middle-earth, also underlined by the next scene in which Yves eats another apple. Now there are 4 dancers around Yves. The elevator goes down even further to 5, which is Vivi's number. And now we get to see Yves and Vivi meeting. Now this scene is often theorized about. Is this the first time Yves and Vivi meet? Did they know each other or not? Is this a flashback? Well, I think that even though the boy in Vivi's MV is a metaphor for Yves, remember how the boy is shown to play arcade games and he likes to dance? Yves is the only other member having an arcade game featured in their MV, i.e. the claw machine, and she is seen dancing in a non-traditional way. Vivi memories are broken, so not everything needs to overlap for this boy to be a symbol for Yves. Also, Yves is a traditionally male name in French, so just think about it. And even though I think the boy is Yves, I think that this is not their first time meeting. I don't think that this is the unbroken memory. I think that one of the first things Yves did when she realized that she can travel through realms was looking for Vivi. As I said before, I believe that Vivi is originally from Eden, and when Hassel found her in the void and tried to help her to exit, Vivi's mind and body were separated. I believe that Yves was inspired by Vivi's rebellion of exiting Eden and going to Earth, even if it wasn't a full success, but it inspired Yves to exit Eden as well. And so she is looking for her since she wants to know if Vivi left Eden just like her, and if she is still alive. And when she finally finds her, she is filled with joy, which explains her big smile when she looks at Vivi. I mean, this scene would be kind of weird if this really was like their first interaction. And Vivi has blonde hair, since she has blonde hair as a human. And after she wasn't an android anymore, since she turned back into a human in the Love and Live MV, her hair turned back from pink to blonde. Now this scene, interestingly enough, is lit with both red and green. Hassel's color is green and Yves has a dark red color assigned to her. This could be a symbol for the influences Vivi had on the other members. Yves, who was inspired by her and wants to exit Eden, together with all of her friends, and then Hassel, who Vivi met, and after Vivi exited Eden and Yeojin was lost there, Vivi also inspired Hassel to build up the 1/3 subunit to come together and help the YYY girls and Yeojin to exit Eden. This scene being at the bridge of the song, and when Yves smiles at her, the last chorus starts, also emphasizes this newfound energy and momentum to change and to make things better. This is also underlined by the lyrics. I got to know a new me. Always, always, all my life. Refreshed new days all my life by my life. The MV becomes ecstatic, showing us Yves dancing, smiling and skating with Vivi, who looks a little baffled by the situation. Or maybe she starts to remember Yves, since she also starts to smile, and we see her later on in the MV opening her eyes in shock, like she suddenly started to remember Yves again. Now she throws the swan plush off of the roof and it turns into an apple. She is done eating the yogurt and throws it away as well. She drops an apple, looks at Vivi's tape, throws another apple, jumps down those parking space thingies, another yogurt spilling over the floor, the tags falling to the floor, and another apple. A close-up of Yves winning the frog plush from the claw machine. her being surrounded by apples and biting into 2 of them. It feels a little bit like this MV shows us how ecstatic Yves is to exit Eden and to take her friends with her. Like, she is excessively eating all these apples and going back and forth in realms, as if she is addicted to the feeling of not being in Eden. These apples giving her the power to not be in Eden seems like the only thing that keeps her going. And of course thinking of her friends that she wants to meet again, and how she wants the YYXY members to be with her on Earth as well. Yves drops another apple from a rooftop just for Choerry to catch the apple, showing that they have a connection. And after this we see the tunnel again. This to me really emphasizes their meeting in the tunnel, and Yves giving Choerry an apple seems to be part of the plan, like we can see in Gowon's MV, but more on that later. Now in the last scene before the MV is over, we can see somebody laying motionless in the bowling alley. Maybe, just maybe, this could be Yves. The dark hair and the outfit definitely looks like hers, the white ruffled skirt and the corset. And it makes sense in terms of the story as well. Remember how we see Choerry being unconscious while and after moving through realms? Maybe Yves, after she travels for the first time, lands unconscious on the bowling alley. So to sum up this MV, I would say that this MV shows us an already experienced Yves traveling through realms and her experiencing new things that she does not get to do or see in Eden. She wears a lot of colorful and alternative style clothing. She dances in a way that looks way different than the Eden dancing. And she meets new people, as well as old friends. Vivi being shown in this MV is also quite interesting from a storytelling perspective. Vivi was the one that was unable to move on from her past. She became an android lacking emotion and any kind of memory of her past. She had some of her memories restored, but they were broken. She wanted nothing more than to be like all the other girls. She couldn't forget about her past, since she wanted to return to her past self. Only when she finally overcame these feelings and accepted her present life, did she become a human again. Vivi is a role model for the YYXY members, who also have to overcome their shortcomings to overgrow themselves, and for their lives to become better. Yves, in a way, sings a song all about this. First up in the song, Yves admires someone that is described like a role model to her. The look of you when I open my eyes, so bright that I couldn't dare to approach. My heart that wants to be like you, gets colored, filled with you. And then she realizes that what makes Vivi overcome her shortcomings is to not look down on herself, but to accept your own weaknesses and work on yourself to overcome these shortcomings. Willing to get closer to the sun, flapping of the burnt wings, my miserable appearance. Only then I learned my new days, all my life by my life. Take a look at me now, all my life by my life. I mean, yeah, in the overall sense of the song, Yves sings about herself. But I'd like to imagine that just like Yves inspired some orbits to outgrow themselves and be brave, Yves was inspired by someone to do so herself. And through Vivi she learns that looking at your future with a smile on your face is better than to frown at your past. Because you're the one that controls this future, but you can't really change your past. I feel like this is a pretty nice circle moment for both Vivi and Yves, where they find each other again, but both of them are now much more confident and happier. And now Yves has allies in both Odd Circle and 1/3. Now she can start her plans. I would really like to put all of the YYXY members MVs in one part, but just this MV took me like 6 hours to finish, and I didn't even start editing it, so yeah. These MVs just have a lot in them, so there will be 3 more parts for the members MVs, and then 1 for the Love4eva MV. And depending on how much time I have to work on these, I will maybe upload 2 videos in 1 week, but I wouldn't bet on it. So thanks for watching, and as always, if you liked the video you can like and subscribe.